What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are, second day of April, second green day for me. Two big movers in the small cap market. Number one, APOP up over 200%, some really awesome trades there. And then the second one, LK, down 75% on some pretty crazy news, and then a big bounce off those lows. Those are the two stocks we're gonna talk about during today's recap. As always, questions, comments, leave them down below, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, enjoy the recap. What's up, everyone? All right, so we're going to do our midday market recap here and go over the trades from this morning. So the question is, how much did I make? I don't know yet. All right, I haven't seen my P&L. So at this point, this is where I'm at right now. This month, I started. Well, I had a red day on Monday and on Tuesday, and so I decided on Wednesday, which was the first day of April, that I would reduce my share size. You know, I'm kind of having this funny thing. It's very tricky for me, but what I'm finding is that I trade with bigger share size, like anywhere, sometimes when 12,000, 15,000 shares. And the reason I do that is because I'm trying to get a big win. And some of the biggest winners I've ever had have been on days where I had pretty big share size. So I figure, well, to have a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 day, I need to be trading with 10 to 15,000 shares. Get $2, $3 a share. And so I start trading with, kind of bigger and bigger share size. But what happens is, as the share size goes up, I actually am finding, profits start to diminish a little bit. And in fact, to a point where I even sometimes think I make less with big share size than I would make with smaller share size. So this maybe, let's say, is like 6,000 shares, and this is trading average trades with 15,000 shares. And it's not, why is that? Why is it not just a straight, trajectory up as you increase your share size? I think the problem for me is that there's two issues. Number one, as a breakout trader, I sometimes buy dips, but I mostly buy breakouts. And even on false breakouts with small share size, it's easy to get out. Like on a trade like this right here. This is a false breakout, and with 2,000 shares, 4,000 shares, you can jump in at 4. It goes up to 424, it comes back down, you can pop right back out, no problem. But with 10,000, 15,000 shares, you can't jump in and out like that. In fact, I would say each time I take 12,000 shares, I probably am losing anywhere from 4 to 10 or more cents in slippage. If I press the buy button, and that wouldn't be true for this stock LK, but for a stock like APOP, if I press the buy button right now for 12,000 shares, I wouldn't fill it all at 88 and 89. I'd probably fill it 3-4 cents up. And then when I go to get out, I'd fill it 3-4 cents down, because these stocks are a little more thinly traded. And so a setup that with 2,000, 4,000, or maybe 6,000 shares might be a winner. That same trade with 10,000 or 12,000 or 15,000 shares, for me, could be a loser. And so I think that's where I, start to see that a little bit of decline in profitability. And even last year, I made the point last year to trade with bigger share size, because the year before, 2018, I made $500,000. So I was like, okay, $500,000 with average share size of, I think it was 8,000 shares or something like that. So I thought, okay, so for 2019, I'm going to increase that up to 10,000 to 12,000 shares. And my expectation is that this is going to increase up to 650, maybe 700. And it actually went down to 370. So I made a little bit less money. And maybe that was just because last year was a little choppy, but that was a full year of trading with larger share size. And this year, to date, I've continued to trade with bigger share size because I have that feeling of I'm trying to make money, and trading with smaller share size is counterproductive to trying to make money. And so I'm going to do this as a test for the month of April, to trade with smaller share size. I did it yesterday and limited myself to 6,000 shares specifically because I said I can't have another red day. So with a 6,000 share limit, on my first trade yesterday, I was planning on trading with 2,000 shares, 2,000 to 4,000 shares. I was like, I'll start with small size, and then, if I have a loss on my first trade, I can probably recover it and, whatever. If I go in on my first trade with 12,000 shares, or even 6,000 in this case, and I lose 30 cents, and all of a sudden I'm digging myself a hole. So anyways, I just set this restriction yesterday. So this is 2 days trading with 6,000 share max size. And it's not going to be a home run day. My first trade on APOP, I knew it was extended, and I only took it with 4,000 shares at 45, and I sold it at like 55 and 67 before it went into a halt. I then got back in for the break of 3, but sold that quickly. The only thing I would say is that my accuracy today has been really solid, because with small share size, it's been easy to get back out if I've had a loser. So where did I finish today? You know what? That's not bad at all. $3,645. Not bad. That's a solid morning. And of course, you could extrapolate that, well, geez, Ross, if you trade with 12,000 shares, you would have been up $7,200. You would have doubled it. But I don't think that is a fair, I no longer think that that's a realistic or fair assumption because of the slippage getting in and out. So, today wasn't a home run. I mean, with 6,000 share max size, that's almost 50 cents a share. So, to pull that out of the market is not bad. APOP had some big moves. So this was the stock that was on our watch list pre-market. So those of you guys who are kind of at the beginning of your learning curve, every morning I run this scan, and this is my pre-market scan and watch list. So I've configured this to help me find stocks that are worth trading. And APOP was at the top of the scan. So what does that mean? It means that APOP yesterday was trading at about $1.40 with basically no volume. It's not something that we would have been looking at or particularly interested in. June says she wants to say hi to everyone. Girl, you're officially a celebrity. You say hi? Say hello. All right. Well, so APOP yesterday was trading at $1.38, $1.40. It's a cheap stock. And all of a sudden this morning, it's started squeezing up. It squeezed up from $1.53 up to $2, pulled back, and then by the sort of pre-market highs, it was at $2.50. So $2.50 right there was the pre-market high. And I pulled up the stock and I was like, okay, we've got a headline here. Receives a new patent allowance in China. All right, interesting. Am I familiar with the stock? And the answer is yes. I've traded it many times over the years. It's a stock that has a history of making big moves. You can see these big volume days here and here. This is a day where the stock just absolutely exploded again here. But then it started to pop up and fade, pop up and fade, pop up and fade. So we kind of, for a while, I lost interest in it. It went lower and lower. Again, these days where it would pop up and fade, not really hold up super well. Did a reverse split back here. We had a nice bounce off the reverse split, a day where it gapped up, squeezed up to 7, but then rolled over, came back down. And then these last couple times it's popped up, this time here and then, of course, today. So initially, I was actually hesitant on it. I thought that, and Tracy, you're right, 3,500 a day, 240 trading days, that would be $840,000 if I was averaging that. So you're absolutely right. 3,500, 3,600 a day is not bad. Anyway, so APOP, I was a little skeptical on at first. And that's why on my very first trade, I jumped in it with whatever it was, 4,000 shares for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high, break of 45. And as soon as I was up 10 cents, I sold half. I took $200 off the table, put some money in my pocket. It squeezed up to 65, 67. I sold the rest. It felt like it was kind of topping out there. And it did pull back for a moment and then surged up to 83. And I was like, don't chase it. Just wait. Wait for the next entry. It opens from the next halt at about 295. And I bought for the break of the whole dollar, which is 3. It squeezed up to 330, pulled back. I then bought. Let's see, my next trade was right up in this area for the break through the highs, a quick trade. We hit the 200 moving average, a little resistance there, broke through it, pulled back, and then we had this pullback set up right here, first candle to make a new high. Another nice trade. First candle to make a new high, another so-so trade, false breakout. But this one, for me, I believe actually was about a 10-cent loss. So that I think was my first loss, but it didn't kill me. It was only with 4,000 shares. I didn't get much slippage, so it was not too bad. Got back in for the break over 80. Actually, I got back in right here for the break over 70. Got a quick pop up to 85, came back down, small winner. Nothing to be super excited about. Then it squeezed up here. I bought the break of 420. It hit a high of 440. Then bought this pullback here for the break over 430 and sold on the squeeze up to 450, 460. So a couple of nice trades there. It's now pulled back a little bit. And at this point, I'm saying, I'm throwing in the towel on it because I've had a good day. And at a certain point, you have to walk away. But high volume on the breakouts right now, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if this does go up higher because it's holding the VWAP, it's holding the moving averages. It looks good. And now I want to comment a little bit on LK. LK is right here down 73%. And this was a tough one for me today. Because on the one hand, I looked at this and I was like, well, man, this looks like, it obviously looks like a long. I'm not going to short it. It looks like a long. It's so sold off. This looks like a nice bounce setup. First 1 minute candle to make a new high right here at 5. What happened? It squeezed up to 560, got halted. It opened higher, squeezed up to 6, halted again, opened higher, squeezed up to 8. Unbelievable. That's 100% right there. Absolutely incredible. Why didn't I trade it? I didn't trade it because the headline, let me just see if I can open this one. The headline is that LK, Luckin Coffee, announces formation of independent special committee and provides certain information related to an ongoing internal investigation. And so the internal investigation said that beginning in the second quarter of 2019, the chief operating officer and a director of the company and several employees reported to him had engaged in certain misconduct, including fabricating certain transactions. So this goes on to say internal investigations include that the aggregate sales amount associated with fabricated transactions around $2.2 billion. Certain costs and expenses were also substantially inflated by fabricating transactions. So this is a pretty serious headline. And this isn't, this is coming from the company. So here was my concern. My concern was that NASDAQ or the exchange would halt trading of shares of this company pending investigation. And it's not something that we've seen that before. And when these stocks get halted pending SEC investigation or NASDAQ investigation, they can be halted for months, literally months. And so if you take a trade, you buy 4,000 shares of this, four times 4 times 5, you're putting $20,000 in it, and then you're halted for months. Now, that money is tied up. you can't sell the position. That buying power is tied up, and you're stuck. If you have that trade on margin, you're paying margin interest during that period of time. And of course, as a beginner trader, I felt that the risk was too high to take a trade on this, to potentially have any of you guys take trades on this and then get caught in a 4, 5, 6 month long halt. Knowing that risk was there, had I taken the trade and that happened, not only would it have been terrible for me with my account, it could have been potentially career ending for some of you guys with a small account. So, it's a tough thing because as it turns out, this one ended up going up 100%, and I started to feel a little frustrated and started to feel FOMO. And it's, in hindsight, maybe I was being too conservative on it. If it doesn't halt today and it keeps trading all day and I was just wrong, then it does mean that I left I left this opportunity kind of on the table. But again, it's about a risk reward analysis. And so in this case, my feeling was that the downside risk for my own account with 4,000 or 6,000 shares, it would be potentially that I could lose almost all of it. That's a lot of downside risk. That's certainly a lot more downside risk than something like APOP, which is I could lose money, but I'll sell it and then move on to something else. So the downside risk felt high. The upside profit potential, I thought might be pretty good, but can you live with the downside risk? And I wouldn't want to put something in front of you guys that, of course, I was very clear about the risk involved with it. And I know some of you guys did end up trading it, but I wanted to make sure you guys fully understood that risk. And so, we know day trading is risky, but on this one, I just felt that I just didn't want to take that risk. So maybe that was a little too conservative of me. I don't know. But in any case, I chose not to trade it. Those of you who did trade it, you certainly were able to trade it with my full disclosure of my opinions on it and the reasons that I wasn't going to trade it. So you hopefully were well aware of the risk. And if you took it or traded it in the simulator, whatever the case is, then that's good. And again, by the time it was up here, it was like, well, even if I wanted to, it's way too extended. I can't get it up here. This is outrageous. So the only entry was down here out of the gates. And at that point, I was focusing on APOP. So you know what? I'm up 3,400 on APOP. And I think my downside risk was much, much more limited in it. And so I think that this was the right one to focus on today, knowing, of course, that it's hard to focus on multiple stocks at the same time in any case. BMRA was also on our gap scanner right down here. I did take a trade on it out of the gates for a break over 9. I was anticipating the break of the whole dollar would lead to a break over this pivot pre-market of 9.19. So I got in at 9. It popped up to 9.15 or something like that. It didn't break, and so I stopped out. And again, with small share size, I was able to actually make a little bit of money, whereas that same trade with bigger share size would have been a loser. So for those of you guys who are at the beginning of your learning curve and you're trying to make $100, $200 a day, it's a lot easier to make that with 1,000 shares than to try to do that with 10,000 shares. Even though you might think 10,000 shares, $100 is only 1 penny, but the cost of taking that big share size is is the 5 cents of slippage, which could be like $500. So right now, trading with slightly smaller size is yielding pretty good results. Yesterday I made $1,000. Today I'm up 3,400. So that's 4,500 in 2 days. My ECN fees and commissions will be a lot lower because I'm not trading as many shares. So that's a really nice benefit as well. And, we'll see how I finish up the week tomorrow on Friday. But, just trying to get things off to a good start here for April. Consistency, focusing on lower risk setups, and trying to keep that mindset of leading by example and trying to be the best teacher, which is another reason today that I said I'm not going to trade the S&P 500 SPY, SPXL, SPXS, even though we had unemployment numbers out up to 6 million and I thought the market would drop, I just said, you know what? I'm not going to mess around with that. I'm going to focus on the stuff that will give me hopefully the highest probability of success with the least amount of risk, and I think that paid off well today. All right, so that's about it for me. I don't think I have anything else to go over. So that's my recap. I'll be back at it tomorrow, Friday. Those of you guys who are going through the classes, get in there this afternoon. You're welcome to stream the classes. We'll have a mentor session at 3 p.m. Tomorrow we'll have FOMO Friday at 3 p.m. with me and Ted, which will be really nice. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, that's it for me. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Hey, have you seen my most popular video on YouTube? It's got over 5 million views. You can check it out right here, and check out one of my other videos on YouTube right here. I hope you guys enjoy, and as always, if you have questions, leave them down below in the comments section. I personally respond to every comment that's posted.